It's kind of easy to feel sorry for Martha. She is resentful that she's left to do all the serving and work by herself, and then Jesus, her beloved, seems to add salt to the wound by suggesting it's her fault for being jealous, and that Mary, who's sitting around seemingly doing nothing, has really chosen the better part. I don't think that Jesus was really trying to put Martha off, but he was kind of trying to help her understand maybe a little bit more about herself and a little bit more about prayer. And this passage is a bit incomplete, I believe. We're seeing things kind of superficially without knowing what might be going on underneath. I do believe that Martha, in the busyness, could have been praying at the same time. We know that we often have time to do things that are busy with our hands, but our minds are someplace else. The whole prayer shawl thing is about knitting while praying. It's very possible that we can spend vast amounts of our time engaged in prayer while doing something else at the same time. Unfortunately, Martha was fuming and resentful and jealous. That was not prayer. So Jesus was calling her to mind to say, all right, maybe cooking and cleaning and doing all this stuff is your love language. You forgot why you're doing it. You need to get your head kind of realigned here a bit. The other thing we don't know is about how much of a challenge it was for Mary to sit at the feet of Jesus. It sounds easy, but I would imagine that even Mary was thinking, I bet my sister is really ticked off right now. I should be getting up and doing something, just to keep the peace maybe. And she would have to fight off all those urges to get up and do something that would be a distraction from keeping her at present at the feet of Jesus. And so we shouldn't be too quick to assume that it was easy for Mary to do what she did. The reality is that prayer is work, and to pray unceasingly is a lot of work. And so we need to kind of consider the challenges that Mary had as well as Martha. I suspect that in Jesus' emphasis that Mary has chosen the better part isn't reflecting the sitting around doing nothing part, but the part of openness, to be present without filling the void with our thoughts and opinions. Because we are called to be both a conscious being and an open being. Jesus says that as his disciples, we need to be as shrewd as serpents, to be able to deal with the challenges of this world, while at the same time being as simple as doves, being present and vulnerable before the Lord. And so I do believe that Mary had her challenges, even though she chose the better part, to be present to hear what the Lord had to say. Sometimes what the Lord has to tell us isn't always easy for us to listen to. I think that Mary's ability to be there and presumably free of distractions, even though I think that she probably still had her monologue going on in her head, as typical for all of us, was the ability or the openness to still learn. There's an old adage that goes on, and it says that there's this master that finally turns to a student, a would-be student, has to turn them away and say, I can't teach you anything because your cup is already full. They had such a love for knowledge and of conviction that they had learned so much and achieved so much, they really weren't in the right space to be able to take anything more in. And so the challenge, I think, for us as Christians is to recognize we still have room to grow, and maybe in ways that we're not even considering. We might think that our cup is already full of very good, precious, old wine that we dare not pour out. That's great. But may we be a little bit like Mary and desire to hold on to a bigger cup and allow the Lord to fill it.